In 1962, Bell Helicopters of Mirabel, Quebec came up with one of the most iconic helicopters in the world, the Jet Ranger. It was so popular with airliners and industries and even private high rollers that could afford to buy one that they decided to make and release a newer, bigger version which was called the Long Ranger. And that is the subject of today's video. Welcome to RC Helicheck UK. I wonder if Ken Dodd still got his Didyman. Probably not. Cat's probably at home. This is my Long Ranger. I acquired this fuselage some time ago now, and I've had it on the intentions of converting it. It was originally designed by Colt, who developed the Space Baron, and this was the fuselage that they made for that Space Baron 30 size helicopter. I'm going to take this old fuselage and I'm going to convert it to electrics, and I'm going to put these in it. And this is a set of Blade 550X mechanics that I've got. I've already flown the mechanics before, but these have basically been stripped and I'm going to fit it into here. So I need to put all the fly-by-wire system, electronic speed control and all that into it. But we're going to build this helicopter and I'm going to get the electrics in, get it all set up, and then we're going to go and fly it. It ain't going to be today because it's going to take a few hours to do this, and not only that, it is blowing a hoolie outside and it's just started raining. It's been really windy here for the last few days and it doesn't seem to be letting out at all. So I'm going to move it over to the bench on the other side to give me a bit more room. Let's crack on with it and see what we can do. Right, so here we go. This is an old model, and even though it's made of fiberglass, it is pretty flimsy. I've already coated the inside of it with some black paint and whatnot, but all the, I don't know if you can pick it up, but all the doors and everything have all been sort of like etched into the fuselage itself. So I don't really want to cut these out and replace them with windows. I'm just going to paint them black for now. Not sure what colour scheme I'm going to do it in yet, but that will be at a later stage. But like I say, it is a really flimsy model. But once that canopy's on and the mechanics are inside, I'm kind of hoping it's going to stiffen it up a bit. It is old, so what you're going to be seeing here today is me basically getting an old model and trying to make it look new. We'll be adding more detail to it because it is pretty basic. It is just the basic shape of the fuselage. There's things that need sanding, like the tail planes on the back and whatnot. They need to be sanded down and smoothed out a little bit. There's things up here that need to be looked at as well. So we'll get all that sorted out, and then I'm going to basically get the mechanics fitted, and then I'll get it all test flown first, and then when I'm happy with it, I'll take the mechanics back out and then I'll work on the fuselage and start adding some detail to it, and I'll show you how I go through that process. I am what they call a traditional scratch builder. I don't own a 3D printer. I would like to, but it's just not feasible at the moment. So I tend to make all my things from everyday bits and pieces. You've seen my AH-6 attack helicopter. That was done like that. I didn't use any 3D printed parts apart from the Gatling guns, the Medi guns, whatever they call them. They were too complex for me to get them accurate, and a friend of mine, another fellow member of the club, he 3D printed them for me. So yeah, basically that's what we're going to do. We'll put the fuselage to one side and then we'll start looking at the mechanics first and getting them sorted. Right, these are the mechanics that I'm going to use. Like I said to you earlier on, at the beginning of the video, this is an old Blade 550X. It's no longer available. It was discontinued quite a while ago, But when it first came out, it's actually a really good helicopter. And like I say, I've actually got 2 of these, and the other one is originally a pod and boom. It is basically a pod and boom, and it flies really well. And I thought I'll get the mechanics, because I don't need 2 pod and booms, there's no point. So I thought I'll get the mechanics and I'll be using them in a scale fuselage. And of course, like when I came across I forgot what it was called, Colt fuselage, I thought it'd be ideal because it's about the right size. I have offered them up into the fuselage already, and they do fit quite well. Quite a rigid DFC head on it. It's got an E-flite motor, which is what it came with. It's they call it the E-flite Heli. It's a 550 1360 kV motor. Pretty powerful, to be fair. I've actually got 3 of these, and I got standard size Spektrum 6040 cyclic servos in, and I've got a Spektrum 6080G for the tail rotor at the back as well. They're brilliant servos. I've got them in a few of my helicopters and they've never let me down. So these have been fitted in this, and like I say, the actual mechanics have been flown before, although I took the fly-barless unit out for another helicopter because I didn't, like I say, I had 2 of them and I didn't really need the other one at the time. But now I'm using it, I'm going to be fitting another fly-barless system back into it again. That is basically the fly-barless unit I'm going to be using. When I put in all my bigger helicopters from sort of like 500 upwards, I always use the Spektrum AR7200 or the 7210. I've been using these for quite a while now and they've never let me down, so I'll be putting one of those in. It has got a satellite receiver connected to it as well, so I'll be using one of those, and I'm going to be fitting an Align BL 100 amp, I think it is. No, it's a BL 80, sorry, electronic speed controller. It normally requires 100 amp, but because it was designed originally for 3D, this helicopter, obviously I'm not using it for 3D, I'm flying it at scale, so I'm not going to need the power and the, you know, the kind of crap that you do for smackdown 3D, as I call it. So this 80 amp ESC will work in it, I know that for a fact. So I'm going to fit all those in first, get the fly-barless unit fitted, get the servos connected to it, and then go through the fly-barless settings to get it set up. I could show you a video of how to set up the AR7200, but there's no end of videos out there on how to do that. So if you ever get one of these, there's videos out there. Freddie Can Fly, Freddie Cordova, check him out. He's got probably the best video on how to set up one of these. So I recommend you go and watch one of those, because I'm not going to bother doing it. It's going to take too long. It doesn't need to be done. So I'll get all these fitted, get the mechanics all set up, and then I'll install them into the fuselage, and then hopefully, if and when I get it done, the weather calms down, I'll go out and test fly it. One thing I recommend you doing when it comes to doing one of these, not everybody has to, but it's just something I do to make things a lot easier for myself. See all my cables, I've got like little coloured dots on them, and each one represents a certain servo. So like one will go to the pitch servo, one will go to the aileron, and one will go to the elevator, and then I've got obviously this one down here which will go to the rudder. And all these corresponding dots go on each servo, so I know which plug does what on each servo. It's just something to make life a bit easier, and God knows what, nobody has to do it, you don't have to. It's just me saying, you know, it's what I do to make things easier for myself. Anywho, back to the time lapse. Back to time lapse. Sorry. have it. In that little time-lapse video, which just took me nearly 45 minutes, is probably you've watched in what, I don't know, 2-3 minutes. You don't get that know-how. Right, so everything's all connected in, all wired up. Turn on the transmitter. Now you will notice, as always, because I've not done it yet, let it arm, let the B-Steaks do its Night Rider thing. There we go. Swash plates all to poop, and then if you get the transmitter, throttle hold Rob, eject, that's pitch, up and down, up and down, up and down. It's drunk. It's a bit squiddly womply pissed. And rudder's right, aileron, well, it's just not even go there. Elevator, okay then. All that will be sorted out in the Micro Beast. So I'm going to set up now. You're not going to watch me do it. I've said to you before, there's plenty of videos on there on how to set up a Micro Beast, but you are going to go into time-lapse mode. See you in a sec. So there we go guys, that's all done. I don't know how long it took me, I think it was about half an hour, something like that. But however long it took you, I'm not too sure because she was in timsy-lapsy mode. But anywho, we're all done. Now, if you look, throttle hold, pitch, full, positive, negative, and we got left and right rudder, that's all good. And then left aileron, right aileron, and then forward pitch elevator, back pitch elevator. So happy days, all sorted. So that's it, that's all done. What we've got to do now is fit it into the Fogelers, didn't we? Now, I don't know if you can see that. Some of you may have noticed that the tail rotor is on the other side of the helicopter, and you'll be thinking, hang on a minute, that's wrong. Well, actually it's not, it's right. Normally we'd have the tail rotor on this side, but because it's going in a Jet Ranger, or Long Ranger in this case, the tail rotor is on the Jet Ranger and the Long Rangers was on the left hand side if you're looking at the helicopter from the behind. Anyway, so I basically flipped it over and then set the servo in a different angle so that the control rod went across the top. That way then it meant that the tail rotor was on the right side, and it's rotating anti-clockwise when you look at it. And again it'd be like, no, wrong way, it should be going anti-clock, no, clockwise, anti-clockwise, clockwise, no, anti-clockwise. It'll still have authority. I have flown these mechanics like this before because I wanted to see what it did, and it was no different than flying it with them the other way around. It's just to keep it scale. It saves me swapping around the auto rotation unit inside the main rotor head. I'd have to swap that and reverse that and have the tail and the main blades rotate in the other direction, but it flies just as fine as it is like this. So yeah, there we go, that's that bit done. Now I could, I suppose, in some respects, put these on a set of skids and go and test fly them. In really, that's what I should do. So I've got a set of skids in the car. I'm going to go and get those, stick them on the bottom of the heliwhopper, and then I'll test fly it at the mechanics as they are. But it's a little bit windy, so we'll have to see what happens, but I'll just go and get the skids and sort it out. Right, there we go guys. Skids are on from my, these are actually a set of skids from my Eligny 700. Main blades are on, and tail rotors all connected and whatnot. These blades might be a little bit big for this because there's only about 2.5 inches of clearance between the tail rotor and the main blades, and I think if I landed quite hard, there's a possibility that the tail blades or the main rotor blades might hit the tail blades. So I might actually put some smaller blades on it at some point. But it's still blowing a hoolie out there, and I mean really bad. So I don't know what to do. I don't know whether to give it a go or not. Let's just go and have a quick look. I mean, it's a glorious night. I say night, it's about 7 PM, maybe 7:30. But I don't know if you can see the windsock. It is virtually horizontal. It is that windy at the moment. It's got to be gusting 30 mile an hour still, 25-30 mile an hour. So I don't know, let's see. Right guys, let's give these mechanics a go. I'm knackered. Right, excuse the wooden fin on the back, but that's actually part of the scale fuselage. It looks a bit corny, but once it's all painted up it'll be okay. Right, linear pitch curve, throttle curve, there is no curve, it is straight line. I've got 60% and 70% on idle up one, so we'll give it a go first on normal. How about that? Steady as a rock. It's not as windy as it was yesterday, nowhere near. There's still a little bit of a breeze, but as you can see, that's coping with it quite well. Whoop, gust of wind, he says. I mean, even in the ground effect, look how stable that is. I'm running 20% expo on the ailerons and on the elevators, and I got 30% on the rudder. And for me, for a scale helicopter, that's just about perfect. But I got no qualms with that. These mechanics, albeit I'm old, I mean, look at it. Just look how steady that is. You know what I mean? Tracking's perfect. Kind of hoping you can see the tracking yourself. Hardly need, well, I don't need any tracking at all. There's no vibration in the blades. Not a single bit of vibration. The tail is twitching slightly because of the wind. Whoop, wind, whoop, wind. Maybe the old ground effect thing was a bit wrong. But like I say, as you can see, it is quite stable. I hope this is staying in the shot. I've set the camera to linear instead of wide, because the wide had kind of a fisheye effect on it and I didn't like it, so I thought I'd stick it on linear. But yeah, I'm happy with that. Fighting the wind a little bit. But there we go. So yeah, I like the resistance on the blades. That auto rotation unit is working really nice on that. So I'm happy with that, guys. I mean, as you can see, or as you could just see in the video, I don't know if you can see me. Hi. Yeah, I'm happy with that. But these mechanics have always been good. There's one thing I have found with Blade. Some of the smaller models, okay, so they're a bit near. Some people like them, but the bigger ones that they made will be no more on the market. Pretty damn good, to be fair. So there we go. Right, fuselage. So there we go, guys. Can't fault it. I mean, that's really stable. I mean, I don't need to do any adjustments to the fly-barless controller. It's all dead straight. Like I say, the only thing is the tail rotor is a little bit twitchy. I might just drop that down with the rates or something like that. Just reduce that with the rates, because it didn't need to be that pitchy on a scale model. So yeah. So tomorrow, like I say, we'll call it quits for now. Tomorrow I'll get it all fitted into the fuselage, and hopefully the wind will have stopped and we'll be able to test it in the scale fuzz. Right, we'll see you tomorrow, guys. Right, guys, I've got all my tools and bits and bobs out. Let's see if we can get this helicopter in, these set of mechanics into the fuselage. I'm going to put you onto a time lapse. There's no need for me to do it at a normal pace, but if there's anything that I think needs to be explained to you, I will stop and I'll show you and then go back into the old lapsey timey mode. Let's see what it's like with the light on. Do I need a light on or not? That don't really make a difference, does it, to be fair? Let's turn that back off. Right, time lapse time. It's in. That's what she said. That was not easy. I mean, I don't know if you picked it up on the time lapse video, but I had a right game getting the mechanics in to the bottom here. But yeah, it's gone in. It's gone in quite nice. Yeah, that was awkward. getting these screws in was not an easy task. That needs tightening up. Yeah, I got there eventually. Fitting the mechanics in and lining these two screws up at the front here was quite awkward. Once I got one in, that went in quite easily, but the one on the other side, it was really difficult to get lined up. I couldn't see what I was doing. But then the back ones, they were even worse. But it turns out, no matter how hard I tried to screw them in, they just wouldn't go. And that was because this E-Jet here was using the wrong size hex driver. So instead of me using the right one, I was using a smaller one, so it was spinning round inside. Lesson learned, don't be a twat. So anyway, they're gone in, and then I had difficulties then with the tail rotor. Again, because I was being a bit of a bellend. This is the Bell helicopter, I was a bellend. I'd got the tail rotor on, and then realised that my control link had gone. And I thought, where the hell's that? And it was down here at the bottom. Okay, and do you think I could get it out? No. I had to undo all this to find it, only to discover that it had gone from the top and around underneath, and I couldn't get it back around because there's two prongs that hold either side of this, that hold these tail planes on, and it was catching between the main tube and these little wires, and I couldn't get them through. So I ended up having to get a piece of wire that was literally minuscule of a gap. I ended up getting a bit of wire underneath and having to squeeze the fuselage apart a little bit to be able to flick it back through to get it back on the top. So that was a pain in the balls. But it's in. Anyway, we've got it on. So let's, I mean, it's quite rigid. I don't think I'm going to have any issues with it at all, to be fair. The only downside is I'd like to have the canopy magnetised, but without me making some new framework and all that kind of stuff, it isn't going to happen. So when it comes to sticking the nose on, it literally just goes on, slides over, just slide it in, that's what she said, like so. Nope, there we go. Is that going? Yeah, there we go, that's in. And then I've got 4 bolts, 2 on the top here on the doghouse and 2 on the sides. But I mean, it's going to take minutes for me to screw them in, but to be honest with you, that's the only way I can change the batteries without doing more cutting and hacking on the fuselage that I don't really want to do. But it fits. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the blades and everything back on and plug a battery in. I'm not sure how much I've got left in my battery. I might have enough for a quick hover. And yeah, we'll go and test it with the mechanics in. So I'll put you back onto a lapsey time, and hopefully my battery won't run out, because I'm on about, what's it showing? 17%. I may get there. Let's have a look. There we go, guys. It's in. A bit of a ball ache that I've got to change the servos. I'll get it out in a minute. Bit of a ball ache that, you know, these have to be screwed in. But to be honest with you, I used to have a Black Shark fuselage for my 700, and that was held in exactly the same way with 4 screws, and it only took me, what, 30 seconds. And it's the same with this. But that's on nice and solid, that is. So the weather's nice and calm, the wind's dropped. Let's go out and give it a test fly, see what it's like. Okay, here we go, guys. What a difference in weather. Yesterday it was blowing 30, 35 mile an hour gusts. Today it's been less, considerably less. And here we are now, later on in the evening, and although you can't see it, the windsock is virtually flat calm. So here we go. This is the Bow Jet Ranger, Long Ranger. I'll get it right in a minute. Long Ranger, and we have now got it so that mechanics are sitting inside. It look weird, just grey like that with a wooden fin. Not for long. So the settings that I've got in it are exactly the same as they were before. Nothing has changed. I've got the same linear curve on the pitch, and the actual throttle is at 60% normal and idle at 170. Let's give it a shot. That's really quiet. Okay, here we go. Getting light. Whoop, 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 whoop. A little bit of a shake there. Can you see that? It's got a tiny, tiny bit of shake. I don't know whether that's down to, there might be a little bit of vibration, but there's definitely a shake in that tail, look. You see it? Not sure what's causing that. It could be vibration. Handle's all right. That's not that bad. That's annoying because that vibration or that shake was not there before when we tested the mechanics, if you remember. But putting it in the fuselage, we've now got a little bit of a wobbly boot. But it does fly okay, as you can see. I need to adjust the pitch. I'll tell you what we'll do. Let's see what it's like on idle at 1. I'm going to land it first. I'm not going to do it while it's in the air, just to be on the safe side. That is a horrible vibration. Let's see if it aggravates it or whether it makes it go away. It might be because it's on a lower head speed. A higher head speed seems to have got rid of the wobble. I'll tell you what we'll do. Let's just change the gyro settings. Change the gyro settings on it, see if that makes a difference, because I think it could be the gyro. I apologise if my voice is really loud, but that's because I've got my mic on. What are we sitting at? Minus 25, it's 0, that's rate mode, I don't want it on that. It's 25, let's go up. Let's go up 5%, let's try it at 30. Okay. Let's try that, see what that does, see if that makes a difference. Right. Back on normal head speed. Now the shake's definitely there. Hold on. We've lost the shake on a higher head speed, but we've got a little bit of a twitch. A little bit of a twitch on the tail. So let's go up another 5% on the gyro settings on the tail. Let's go to 35. I mean, it might need to be less. See if it gets worse or whether it stays the same. That's another 5%, so we're up to 35% from 25. Alright, try again. I definitely need to fly it with a higher head speed, I think. I think that's too low a head speed for it. See what I mean? Let's go higher. Yeah, that's a lot better. It's still there a little bit, but not as much as it was. Still a tiny bit of a switch. I might need to change the gain a little bit, but definitely think that 70%, I'd look one is at 70%. It's definitely a lot better than what it was. But I'm hoping you can see that tail like that. Look, see how it's moving a little bit. You know what I mean? But I've got a flying Jet Ranger. I mean, it handles really nicely. Okay. Okay. I'm happy with that. Whoop. So, there we go. From old fuselage to setting up the mechanics, putting the mechanics in said old fuselage to flying model. I'm sure I mentioned Jet Ranger again earlier on. It should be Long Ranger. But anywho, look at that. I mean, that is pretty damn cool. It's a 30 size, I believe. I think it's a 30 size helicopter with a fuselage being the size that it is. Hi, me again. But I think now we can safely say that this model is ready to go. And I think the next stage of this process will be refurbing the model. And when I say refurbing, I mean putting it up into some detail, adding a little bit more detail to it. But I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. You will be seeing this helicopter again. I will be doing another video, and it'll be of the build. Sorry, not the build, of the detailing and painting and all that kind of thing. I'll make a complete new video for that. But I hope you enjoyed the video. Please click the like and subscribe button. It really helps, and I appreciate you all following me the way that you do. And I will see you all very, very soon. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.